Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planets. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, November the 26th, 2025, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube, and please subscribe to the channel before you leave, or you might not be the first to see videos that we upload. I've been uploading a bunch of segments in their separate entirety, which is really cool. Hello, Kai the goalie. The future Georgia Swarm goalie has chimed in. On today's awesome show, there are some new NLL stats being tracked, and shout out to Brad Challoner who found that out. Touches and effective passes. What are they? Especially the effective passes portion of that. And what did fans want to see? I'll react to the best ones. You can also comment live in the first segment about what stats you might want to see. I will unveil my first ranked team. Everyone knows who it is, but what record do the Vancouver Warriors finish with? And I will pick the player awards. I'll give a coach of the year. I will give a rookie, a defensive player, a goalie, and the MVP. I will predict those awards, and we're going to have some fun with that. Before I get started, I will let you know that this show is presented by the ticketing platform at the Natter websites. Head to natalkradio.com and click the event tickets tab today. When you get there to that Vivid Seats platform, type in your favorites or local National Lacrosse League team, and you can get tickets for less. It also gives us a piece of the pie as well. Now, granted, we might have to partner with StubHub because apparently the NLL inadvertently announced that. And Adam Levy did notice that on the NLL.com website, the header, which they're so good at the website, they're so technologically inclined. It was like, oh, StubHub face-off. Oh, thank you, NLL. Probably should have posted that first because they're good at that too. But yeah, the point there was go to natalkradio.com, click the tickets tab, but we might have to go to StubHub instead of Vivid Seats. It's whatever. We get credit. Alrighty, folks. Let's get into my first topic, and this was more of a fan-oriented discussion, so be sure to follow the social media pages at Daily Dive LAX, and I have fun firing up people on my personal, that's Michael Karvelis, but I did ask people, if I can find it now, I said, what are some new stats that you'd like the NLL to track in the near future? I'll react to the best comments. So why are we here? Like, what prompted me to say that? Well, shout out to Brad Challoner, who was able to find out via the Stat Tracker Champion data that all last year, and by the way, Eddie Tabone, a first line, has confirmed to me what we all kind of were thinking. That wasn't there last year because Eddie actually downloaded that stuff, and yeah, it was not there. But apparently they were tracking it. It's touches and effective passes. Touches, self-explanatory. Every time a player gets the ball in his stick, that's a touch until it leaves his stick. Effective passes is the interesting one. Eddie Tabone, via his first line _LAX account, they do a great job tracking stats, especially for a select few NLL teams. The effective pass is basically, and I'll get to why this kind of is weird. It's like Jeff Teat throws a pass to Riley O'Connor. He catches it. That's an effective pass by Jeff Teat. But if Riley O'Connor bobbles it or it's broken up, I get the breaking up part, but there has to be, it seems unfair if Riley O'Connor bobbles and I'm not picking on Riley O'Connor. I'm just saying, like, if player B bobbles the pass and player A does not get an effective pass, seems a bit unfair, but that's what that basically is. So I take those with a little bit of a grain of salt. Now, I also had some fun with this. Like, don't just think this is a fan-only segment, even though it ultimately will be. Because Brad Challoner did some digging and found out the players with the most touches last season. Jeff Teat, 1,730. And I did some math on that. If I can, I'm going to pull that up real quick. I went through some of these in basically the per game. So Jeff Teat touched the ball, like I said, 1,730 times, which is about 96 times per game the ball was in his stick. That's pretty crazy. Connor Fields was next, Dane Smith, Keegan Ball, and Joe Resetarits. So I had some fun. I'm like, okay, of those touches versus the points the player has, who had the best percentage of touches ending in points? It's like a stat that I kind of made up on the fly. Well, Jeff Teat with his 112 points. We know he had a down year despite scoring 56 goals. He had 6.47% of his touches end in points. Meanwhile, Joe Resetarits, of the top 5, had a leading 8.41%, which means with Mitch Jones gone, there is a possibility Resetarits jumps from 1,439 touches to 1,700. And if you do 1,700 times 8.41%, he would score over 140 points, which would break an NLL record. So as bad as the Wings might be, that would be a wild stat, especially if he plays the whole season in Philadelphia. Because we know it's Rez, it's O'Neill, and a bunch of other guys. There is no Mitch Jones, which is crazy. And also, of the effective passes, I was stunned. And I was shocked. Because there is I want to say a narrative, but I've been always giving the playmaking credit to Mitch Jones. The top 5 effective passes last year: Teat, Dane, Fields, Ball, Resetarits, not Mitch Jones. I was like, what? I couldn't believe that. It's like you think all he does is score and shoot, and he's passing the ball great as well. Again, effective passes a little bit icky, but I feel like if Teat and Dane are top 2, I feel like that's a pretty good barometer of a great passer. So that was crazy to me. That was awesome. Again, 1,100 effective passes for Resetarits. Guys, and I know people, we're not saying he's a bad playmaker, but he's a scorer. Oh my gosh, the season Resetarits could have is bonkers. So again, that's that. Yes, yeah, it's got to be. Listen, man, me and Dobson were good. Is that Brett Dobson approved? I like that loose mesh. Shout out to them. That isn't just Dawson. That's Dawson on the loose mesh. And if it's Toll or Frick, God bless you. But Dawson, I like you commenting as loose mesh. That's pretty funny. They did do good work, by the way. Frick's picks and all that good stuff. My goodness. Tonka 95, the promo code on free advertising. Love it. All right, so now let's get to what the fans wrote in about these stats. All right, we got some good ones too. Luis Sanchez says hockey assists. Now, to be fair, I have been on that train. If you actually go to NLLstats.com, not run by the league or Champion Data, run by Graham Perro, Graham, you can filter out which of those of assists were primary versus secondary, aka hockey. Now, I'll be honest, I'm going to expand on this myself. I was talking to Eddie Tabone, I can say that out loud, I think, a first line, and I thought that I would like more NBA assists. Now, I have also told you guys before, and for those of you that are new, I'll say it here again. I do want the tic-tac-toe. If it goes Dane, Josh Buchanan, great. I don't like if, let's say, we do that Dane, Josh Buchanan thing. Let's say Dane throws it to Josh. Dane leaves the floor. Josh runs around a bit. Then Buchanan That should not be an assist for Dane. It makes no sense. He has left the floor, and again, not picking on Dane Smith, but it makes no sense why a secondary assist is always counted. We have to time that up. The NBA has it it seems a little bit subjective, but if you think about it, okay, player A passes the ball, or in this case, throws the ball. A guy makes a step or two and shoots and scores. That's an assist. Even if Josh Byrne has the ball, throws it to Buchanan, and if Buchanan has the ball for 10 plus or even 5 or more seconds doing his own thing, that should not be an assist at all. I don't like that. And if you want to say, well, we know all this history, man, you realize how many times they have changed the history of stats in this league? How many times they changed the games played? That doesn't apply in the NLL. We cannot use historically, I don't care. I don't care if Tavares' record will ever be touched. Then we'll call that like the pre-merger, if you will. Still give him his love, but I think secondary assists are a little bit inflated. All right? Guys can still be great and not have 100 assists. No, it's silly. That was a lot for the Luis Sanchez comments. First line, aka Eddie, did say the friends we made along the way. Absolutely. I agree that stat should be there. If Connor Fields and somebody else, or let's say, for the sake of let's say Nathan Grennan and Steve Priolo tough it out, and they're fine afterwards, even despite being ejected. 1 friend point for Grennan, 1 friend point for Priolo. Love that. It's obviously satire. Buffalo Sports Collective said first thing that popped into their head was time on field / shifts taken. As Levy did point out to Buffalo Sports Collective, they've already done time on floor before, which I think is criminal. They don't do that anymore. I'm like, what was the point of taking that away? Like, I would love to see why Zach Currier is on the floor 10 times more than any other player. Like, that'd be so fun. And I don't know what it means. Like, I don't know, like the Iron Men, like if you play all 18 games and you have the most minutes, good for you. But fans should acknowledge that. And they can't right now because no one's tracking. Now, granted, you have to like pay some more people, but hey, with alt sports data, I know Hutton Jackson has said on the show that it might take a year or two, but hey, I'm counting on Old Sports Data and Champion and NLL to work together. Let's get time on floor back out there. Get it like back on the floor. That was dumb. Jake Elliott's. This is a good one too. Money possessions. I like that. I like that a lot. He also said multiple 30-second resets and goals scored off of them. Buffalo would probably lead that category, especially Cal Buchanan. Like I just thought of something actually because of what he said. Offensive loose balls. That would actually be a fun stat. Like, I know guys like Kyle Buchanan and Nathan Grennan, like, there are guys out there, like Connor Fields does it a bunch too, where it's like someone will miss a shot and they're always right there picking it up because they're first to the ball. I think offensive loose balls, offensive loose balls would have to be after a shot. Like, you couldn't just be in your own zone and grab one because that would make no sense. But maybe we'll call them like offensive rebound loose balls, like ORLB. I don't know. I'm just saying it would be kind of cool if a guy takes a shot, whether it's wide or on goal, we should count if it's defensive or offensive. That might be fun. The money possessions that Jake Elliott said is really intriguing. It's also very vague, Jake. But I love that a lot. I don't know what would go into that. I'm like thinking this on the fly. But maybe I don't know. Maybe what he said actually goes together, but money possessions, I'm intrigued to know. Like, is that what he was talking about in that? I don't know. I don't think it was. So I want to know what that is. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, stats, more of them are great. The more the better, especially for us nerds out there. And again, my takeaway from all this is Reza Terrence is going to break the points record. Oh, and by the way, because people remember, like, for like the first couple of years on the show, Jeff Teat's the great player, you can't say otherwise. And now it's like people are acknowledging he's not as great in the NLL. He's really great, but he's not the best player right now. That efficiency stat, don't you think I didn't have Jeff Teat in there? Only guy under 7% of his touches ending in points, 6.47%. So I've said before, I think Jeff Teat minimizing his turnovers and being more physical would help him. That is not a crime to say, but I think that even though I just kind of like made up the percentage of points ending in percentage of touches ending in points thing, I still feel like that's a good barometer. Like, obviously, Teat has not any, and some people say he did have a down year, so it makes sense why 6.47% is not that great. Other ones that I saw, I haven't gotten to every player yet, but I've gotten to a lot of them. Of the guys that had more than 400 touches last year, Chase Fraser, of the ones that I've seen, is the only guy with over 10% of his touches ending in points so far. I know he was on the Buffalo Bills. I absolutely. And to his credit, Josh Byrne, Ian McKay, Chris Cloutier, Kyle Buchanan, DeHoga, the next guys in line. So the Buffalo Bills offense was sickeningly good last year, and I think that's starting to prove it. Like, they're so darn efficient. It's insane. I will have more of that in a surprise release for you guys later on today or tomorrow. But stay tuned for that. The most touches ending in points percentage. I got a little something cooked up, man. It's going to be kind of fun. All right. Oh, and also, Pat Gregoire did mention to me, what if there's like an efficiency stats? Like, what if, I don't know how to do it. I forgot like what he said exactly. Like, if we can combine like the points and the turnovers, whatever, like we could add like an efficiency stat, kind of like the NBA does. I'd like that. Cool. All right, enough time on that segment. 15 minutes about stats. I'm sorry. Whoo! All right. We come back to this awesome show. I'm going to talk about, what am I talking about next? Oh, it's my first ranked team. So we'll get to our playoff teams and why Vancouver's number one, and also what their record is. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
You know, we have fun on social media. I know I do. Again, be sure to follow this show at Daily Dive LAX on Instagram and Twitter. My personal, of course, at Michael Karvelis. There is a post that said, name something you shouldn't do naked. With a Garfield knockoff character. I said Playbox Lacrosse. I'm sorry. I don't, is that funny? Hashtag deserved. All right. Nice. I was having, literally during the break, I tweeted out Playbox Lacrosse. You shouldn't do it naked. It's true. But I have an idea for a league. Anyways, oh, wow. We just talked about the stats that the NLL is tracking. Shout Brad Challenger, who discovered that. Last year, they tracked touches and effective passes. Ooh. Turns out Reza Terrace might break a points record without Mitch Jones, and Jeff T is inefficient as I thought he was. He's going to be fine, though. All right, let's get to my first-ranked team. Before we do that, though, I do want to go over how we got to this point. And we're not doing 14-1, we're doing 8-1. So here are the playoff teams for me so far. Let's take the Natter logo off, sorry. Desert Dogs, 8th ranked for me, 8-10 record, sneaking in. They were one of 3 teams I believe I had tied with 8-10, and based on the tiebreakers, they got in. Barely though. Toronto Rock, 8-10. As I said earlier, I believe last week, I have a loose track of time. Maybe Monday. I said, don't be surprised if Toronto Rock are in the finals. I have not made my prediction yet. But yeah, I think 8-10, they can, if they get into the playoffs, I think they're dangerous. Number 6, looking back at this, Kai the goalie, I'm going to be honest, and this sucks, I'm wearing it, and I live, it's the closest team to me, even though it's 4 hours away. This is a cool, like the way this is like looking. I like the handshake there. But anyways, I don't want to say the word regret, but I'm reconsidering my playoffs for them. That's a lot of rookies, man. It's a lot of guys who have to step up. They could. I told you guys I'm banking on Brett Dobson being awesome. And I thought about that before me and him, like before he quoted me, so that I don't care about that. I'm hoping he steps up. If not, they're in trouble. All right, number 5 for me. Finishing with one of 5 only winning records for me this season. The Nighthawks at 10-8. Connor Fields and Brad McCauley have injuries. I know Frick said via loose mesh Fields is kind of banged up. We've heard that Brad McCauley, I believe, is on IR. That did come through a week ago. I hope they can play, but man, if they miss time, and add on the fact Rylan Hartley could miss time at any point because of his history, I'm scared. I trust this team, though. And Ryan Lanchbury could actually step up. And with Connor Fields gone, Nathan Grennan did make the roster. Good for him. I think Rochester is going to be improved defensively, but I am scared of the health of the offense, even though that did not contribute to the 10-8 record I gave them. Number 4, the Oshawa Firewolves, 12-6. You're like, 12-6? That's like, how is that only 4th? Wow. Oshawa has a bounce back year. Doug Jameson has become the most underrated goalie in the National Lacrosse League. Their defense is good and healthy again. Alex Simmons, I'm going to say it again, is a superstar. I think he's not just charismatic and positive when he gives interviews. He also is unafraid of the moment, as we saw in his rookie season. You add the fact that Ty Kurtz had a not good year last year, despite high volume. He's going to be better. Dyson Williams looks electric in the preseason clips we've seen. He looks more comfortable. Unbelievable. Number 3 for me, with a 14-4 record. I know some of you on Monday were like, what the heck? Yeah, Rush, 14-4. I think the Rush's ability to stay together, I think they might be the best road team again. Shiliano, I didn't think it was goalie of the year last year. So his step back for me, if he doesn't win it this year, stay tuned for that, I think is still what he did last year. Because I think he'll be that good again. I just don't think he's the reason I don't think he should be the goalie of the year last year. But I 1,000% believe him dropping off is only because he won't win the award this year. But like, he'll be fine again. That's the best part about this team is the guy who won the award. Matt Hosick won Defensive Player of the Year. He'll be great again. Messenger, Austin Shanks, as some people saying, could take another step. Ryan Keenan Godley, the roster's so good. And again, I bring you back to that point last year where Jimmy Quinlan and Shiliano are visibly pissed off when the second half they got shut down of Game 3. They're watching that confetti rain down, and they're angry. They should be. Number 2, unveiled yesterday, also with a 14-4 record. I had the Buffalo Bandits. Yeah, like, so, like, I don't know why he's saying that. So, Loose Mesh randomly, very late, you might want to refresh your page. Yeah, I didn't knock him. I'm saying Ryan Lanchbury had more points than Ryan Smith, and no one even talks about it. That's how good. I don't know what the point of that comment was. Anyways, the Buffalo Bills number 2 for me. I nailed that yesterday. Matt Vince, I am on record now, and this is not a hot take, but I want to, no one's saying it. This is Matt Vince's last year, period. He took a while to consider his retirement. This is it. They're going to be fine. I think I'm scared to death. Not to death, that's a lie. I am skeptical. I have a healthy skepticism of how much more dominant they'll be in the playoffs this year. Because fatigue is going to set in eventually. I don't care how young these guys are. It's tough. Losing Fraser and Kluche was a big deal. Losing Justin Martin was a big deal. Ryan Benesh, the fact the Bandits had to consider that doing the practice squad, and I know they released him because they had to manipulate the roster, that shows you he is not as good as he once was, and he might not be close to that. He'll still be good, but that is shocking. No, oh my God. Lanchbury, if guys get injured, would step up. I don't think I took a shot at Lanchbury. Maybe I did. I did not at all, though. Anyways, Buffalo, 14-4 is great, but I'm nervous of them in the playoffs. I really am. And when I first did these predictions, I was like, ugh. Like I felt good about it. The more and more I think about Toronto and Oshawa, the more and more I'm like, I won't say it, but it feels like Matt Vince winning the championship would have been a great send-off. I'll put it that way. All right, number 1 for me, obviously, now is going to be the Vancouver Warriors. Yes, you're reading that correctly. 14-4, three-way tie for first place. Vancouver gets the tiebreak. You're like, they can't go 15-3. No, I did my predictions like I did last. I don't know where those papers are. I did my predictions game by game. Looked over it a few times, felt good about it. It made no sense to me either. But I think Vancouver with 14-4 will be the 1 seed. And I think those 4 losses come earlier in the season. I think, not saying they'll struggle, but I think preseason has shown they are not as cohesive yet as they will be when it counts. And that's what matters, is when it counts, obviously. But Vancouver, number 1, easy choice for me, but it's more like they could run away with it next year if they keep the roster, which may not happen anyways. But I do think this year they're good enough to be first place with 4 losses. And that's like with them figuring it out. It's kind of like when my Miami Heat had LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. They were like, they could have been like 73-9, but they had to figure it out. And then they end up being awesome anyways. So it's whatever. I think Golden State Warriors did that too, like with Kevin Durant. Like, they lost a couple games they shouldn't. And after that, I was like, okay, this is dumb. All right. So there's that. Before we move on to the last segment, reminder, this Friday, you'll find out what time it is. The clock is ticking. We are 48 hours away from that, but you will understand the time that is needed. All right. When we come back to this awesome show, I'm giving away some awards. And we've had a fun show so far. But folks, I'm telling you right now, you want to chime into the next segment, because I'm going to give out my coach, rookie, defensive player of the year, goalie, MVP. Drop your award predictions if you have not anywhere else. We're going to talk about it next. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, even though you can't bet these things. Just whatever. Picking the player awards is next on Daily Dive. Wrapping it up next. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Oh boy. It is time for my player awards predictions. This is actually one of my favorite segments that I do because at the end of the season, I always have something called the mics. And I know at least the last year, I really did want to give out some player trophies, was not able to get to that. But I think we're going to do that this year. I think I'll be able to do that when May or June rolls around. I will give out some Daily Dive trophies. And if the players want them, I'll direct message them and say, hey, even if the league gives them one, I feel like I find it as the only live daily lacrosse talk show on the planet, I feel like it is my duty to at least try to give the awards, because I do envision 20 years from now, people actually value these things, even if it's not just me voting for it. Like, we've got some team members here at Daily Dive. And by team members, I don't mean like our regular guests like Frick every Monday, Joel Watson every Tuesday, Patrick Guar, just some of the great guys, but they would not be involved in the voting. It would be like me, Leroy, Hunter, and Captain, and whoever joins the show in the future. But that's like, I feel confident we can do that. You're like, Michael, what are you talking about? I don't care. I know you don't care. That's just where my mind is at. Okay, let's do it. I'm giving my award predictions right now in the flesh. Let's start with Coach of the Year. You ready? Obviously, Coach of the Year, you have to consider not only where I have these teams finishing last year, this year, my predictions, also what were they like last year. For my Coach of the Year, this team was supposed to be good again last year. They were not. A lot of that was due to injuries, but this team got smoking hot towards the end of the year, including their young rookie sensation stepping up in clutch moments. I do believe with a 12-6 record, that will be good enough for Glenn Clark to get my Coach of the Year. So again, Glenn Clark is my head coach of the year in the National Lacrosse League. Now, other candidates I was kind of considering was John Tavares, because of losing Fraser and Kluche, and Ed Cuomo of the Swarm. Because even though Brad Dobson might be awesome this year, losing the players they have, if the Swarm can make the playoffs, Cuomo should be considered. Also, the head coach of the Nighthawks, Mike Hazen, could be considered. But I think Dan Carey might get more of the credit for the roster that he's building. So I believe Glenn Clark is my Coach of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I fell victim to this, watching the preseason and seeing a guy who is on a great defense, which actually does help. Like, I considered Owen Grant, well, he's also on a great defense. I consider Callum Jones. I think if Ottawa's going to be great this year, Callum Jones will be a major part of it. I consider Mike Messenger. Latrell Harris with Toronto Rock. Latrell Harris looked absolutely on a mission. He looked like a hitman or an assassin out there. He was taking bodies in the preseason, making plays, jumping, passing lanes, running transition. This guy was a menace. And again, you add the fact that Nick Rose helps him, because he's like you have to have a good goalie as a defender of the year. This is how this award works. If your team has one of the worst defenses, then you don't get considered, unfortunately, most of the time. But I do believe that the great defense around him, like with Brad Kree still there, Dr. Desnew possibly in the waiting, I think Latrell Harris will be the one that stands out. Latrell Harris wins. In front of the show, Latrell Harris wins Defensive Player of the Year. My Rookie of the Year. CJ Kearse would be awesome, and I heavily considered him. I thought about the Georgia Swarm guys that could step up. And I know someone else, like somebody else out there they like. I think, Will McLeod of the Thunderbirds. I think Owen Hiltz, because of his box experience, he's going to look like the better player than CJ Kearse this year. I think 10 years from now, I think CJ Kearse will be better than him. But I think this year, Owen Hiltz is going to score a lot. I think Owen Hiltz will score a lot. I think he'll be efficient. I do see it like Mark Matthews. What I saw in preseason cannot be denied. When Mark Matthews set the screen for Kearse or Hiltz, and we all know Kearse has to learn more, Owen Hiltz is ready. And Owen Hiltz, to me, will win Rookie of the Year. My goalie of the year. Last year, this guy, like as good as Aiden Walsh was, when Christian Del Bianco came onto the Vancouver Warriors, it was night and day. He made Aiden Walsh look pedestrian, even though Aiden Walsh was not pedestrian. But that's how much the jump was from a solid goaltender in Aiden Walsh to a megastar like Christian Del Bianco. That's how big the gap was. You add the fact the roster is disgusting. He got his partner in Getaway Crimes, Shane Simpson, back, referring to like when they run away from the cops in transition. It would be a shock to me if Del Bianco does not win Goaltender of the Year. As good as Chiliana can be, as good as Dobson might help the Swarm, Dylan Ward, Matt Vince, none of those guys will have a team in front of them, and none of those guys will have the assist numbers of Del Bianco. When you combine the fact with his goaltending with the transition assists, it's Del Bianco, and that by far is the easiest prediction to make this season. You can make your finals pick. You can make who makes the playoffs this year, even though they didn't make it last year. MVP, coach, GM, you're not touching how almost set in stone it is that Del Bianco is going to win Goalie of the Year. Again, I will be shocked if Del Bianco does not win this award. And it will be a really big letdown if he does not, because it means Vancouver is not good. Guys, Doug Jameson is going to be great. It will not matter. Again, the jump from Aiden Walsh to Del Bianco was massive. And then the jump with Shane Simpson and the roster they have now, it will not be an argument. If there is a debate, I'm going to be furious. It's got to be Del Bianco. And finally, my most valuable player. MVP, you got to have a high usage. MVP, you got to have a couple of teammates around you to help make sure you're not a high volume, high turnover guy. You have to make the playoffs. I don't think this team makes the playoffs. But I think the season that Jeff Teat will have could push them to the 8 or 7 seed. And I think the season Jeff Teat has will be so much better. Like the other guys I considered, Joe Terrence. Well, unfortunately for him, the Wings will suck. You talk about Mitch Jones. Guys, if Jack Hanna stays, if Fraser and Kluche step up, and the Desert Dogs still have goalie issues, I don't see a scenario where Mitch Jones wins the MVP. Because as good as he will be, he won't be as good as Jeff Teat. He will not be as good as Dane Smith. He will not be as good as Connor Fields. Guys, Mitch Jones is a great player. He's not better than those guys. You add the fact that Jeff Teat now has Rob Hellier, who's a competent sidekick. That's a big deal. You add the fact that Black Bears could be competitive. That's also, guys, I told you guys, I'm going to check my predictions again. I believe, like, for the Black Bears, I have them finishing 7-11. I have the Dogs finishing 8-10. Like, the Dogs can win 10 games. Mitch Jones is not being vaulted to MVP if Jeff Teat is having a great season. Guys, Jeff Teat last year had 56 goals and had a down year. I think Jeff Teat breaks 50 again. I think his assists climb back up. And as he's shown year over year, his turnovers go down. I think his amount of points, amount of touches and in points percentage will go up. I think Jeff Teat is going to have his best season yet. And again, they still might miss the playoffs. But I'll make a prediction. If the Black Bears make the playoffs, Jeff Teat's your MVP. Now, if they don't, it's going to be hard even for me to pick him. But again, the season is going to be so good for him. If they sneak in, he's your MVP. Because no one else on the team is going to step up. Like Rob Hellier can have 80 points. It's not going to matter because Jeff Teat will have 130. Like, that's what we're talking about right now. He's going to have more points by far than the next guy on the team, easily. He's going to have a better year because he's got some help now. And if a team makes the playoffs, write it down now. So again, Glenn Clark, Latrell Harris, Owen Hiltz, Del Bianco, Jeff Teat are my awards. Now, Lou Smash is back commenting saying, Mitch Jones, if Vegas is in the playoffs. No, again, I'm telling you now, I think Mitch Jones, and again, he's going to have a really good season, but it's like there's going to be so many other guys having better years on better teams. It wouldn't make any sense because Fraser, in order for the Dogs to make the playoffs, the Dogs have to have a good defense. Fraser and Clucci have to step up. And I'll be honest, if Jack Hanna's not there, they're not making the playoffs. And if you think they are, what is the scenario if the Dogs this year have no Jack Hanna? It smells a lot like Philadelphia. And I know I might get shot down on social media for that. I don't care. What does Philadelphia have last year? Nick Damude. Nick Damude is better than Landon Kells. Better than Caleb Kahn right now. Last year, Philadelphia, Reservoir with Mitch Jones. Guys, Mitch Jones does not even have a Reservoir anymore. I'm telling you now, if Jack Hanna's not on that team, and we hope he is, there's no way Mitch Jones wins MVP. The team will not be that good. Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I don't know. Like, but again, it sounds like Vancouver bias though. It sounds like Vancouver. Like, it sounds like British Columbia boys talking. It sounds like West Coast people. Like, that's, again, Mitch Jones. I wasn't around for those conversations. I don't think, and again, I like Mitch Jones. Great player. I just think he's a top 10 player. I don't think he's a top 3 player or top 5. And you have to be a top 5 player to win MVP. Like, there's no Mitch Jones being a solid 8th, 9th, 10th best guy in the league does not mean he wins MVP. Because it means those other guys are still having great years. So that's my mindset. Nick Damude. I mean, yeah, listen, Damude to Vegas, sure. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You can't say Damude to Vegas and then follow that up with Caleb Kahn week 3 start. It doesn't make if they're putting Caleb Kahn in at week 3, there's no reason why Damude gets traded. Because at that point you go with your guy. Maybe. I don't know. And again, like, but again, like, why are we rebuilding Philadelphia? Much like Vancouver's rebuilding Calgary, why would Vegas continue to rebuild Philadelphia? That's why Mitch Jones to me is not the MVP. I just don't see a scenario where he's better than the other players. There's my awards. That was fun. Thanks to Dawson for Blue Smash chiming in. All right, folks, you guys have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow we have another special guest on the show. A returning fellow, but he will be on the show. And of course, guys, the games start Friday. Oh my. Aren't you excited We're back to NLL action. Oh, by the way, also Friday. What time is it? My watch is running out. In 48 hours, you will know. Have a great day, everybody. This has been Dilly Dive. Bye.